Um, Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our special webinar, Revolutionize Your Workflow, Automation in Modeling and Simulation. I am Manuel, your host for today, and we're going to explore how the 3D Experience platform, Abaqus, CAE, and custom web apps can greatly improve your modeling and simulation work. Also, one of you attending in the whole webinar will win a free training voucher. We will announce our winner via email at the end of the session, so please stay tuned. Okay, so now I would like to introduce to our speakers for the session. First, I would like to introduce Christopher Habura. He's a mechanical engineer with more than 15 years of experience using Python programming language for creating pre and post-processing scripts and customized GUI application to interface with Abaqus CAE, as well as standalone Python scripts and GUI application to automate workflow outside Abaqus. In addition, Mr. Habura extensive experience with Python. He has been using Abaqus for complex thermal structural nonlinear analysis for almost 20 years. This allows him to readily grasp the key technical aspect of an analyze as they relate to the desired automation process. He received his Master and Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineer from the University of Pittsburgh and Penn State University, respectively. Thank you, Christopher, for being here. I would like to also introduce Georgiy Makedonov. He's a mechanical engineer with more than 5 years of experience of industrial and consulting experience in linear and non-linear FIA, solid mechanic, design and optimization, and workflow automation. Mr. Makedonov has worked in developing templates on 3DEXPERIENCE platform, customized AKL script, writing parametric script for design, study, and GUI customization as a support work for multiple industry segments. In addition to his technical skills, he also is passionate about teaching and sharing his knowledge with others. He holds a master's degree in mechanical and subsea engineering from the University of Houston. Thank you, Georgiy. And now I would like to turn over to you guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Manuel, for introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar. I hope everybody can see my screen. Manuel, can you verify everybody can see my screen?
Yes, well, we can see your screen.
Okay, Georgiy. Great. All right. I'm gonna start presenting the slides. Okay, so in this webinar, we would like to, I would like to present this agenda. First, I would like to present who we are, what we do, some of our services, some of our capabilities, and then we will start talking about automation on 3DEXPERIENCE platform. Also, we're going to talk about workflow automation Abaqus CE in this webinar, and we'll finish up with the web app development and deployment. And if you guys have any questions at the end of the webinar, you are welcome to ask them. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat, and we will answer them after the webinar. And I just put a statement: if you have any questions about your workflow or anything, we are gladly will help you. And again, please drop a message during the webinar for a free 30 minutes initial consultation. So this slide shows who we are. We have a multiple industry experience in different industries, and we have experience in life science, high tech, automotive, oil and gas, and some other industries. We have a global presence. Our headquarters is in USA. Headquarters is in Houston, Texas. We have a presence in Canada, India, Mexico. We have a global team of 200 professionals with engineering consulting team consists of about 40 professionals. Most of them are PhDs and masters, and their expertise are in structure and solid mechanics, fluid mechanics, electromagnetics, and some others. So we are the System Platinum partner, and we do have a global presence. And we provide engineering consulting, technical resource augmentation, PLM implementation. We provide training, custom training, whether it's introductory or advanced training. We do that, and part of our team also does the software sales and support. And of course, we do automation and customization. So part of this, this entire webinar focuses on automation. So this we'll talk about in more details. This slide just shows some of our simulation capabilities, and we are very well experienced in the FEA, CFD, electromagnetics, and design. This is just not the full list. Some of them I just wanted to display here. We do provide a consultation design by analysis, fitness for service, ECA, and simulation automation. Again, this is the focus of this webinar. We have listed some of the CFD topics, electromagnetic topics, such as CFD's area acoustic modeling, pressure drop and flow regimes, and some of the electromagnetics, microwave heating, some of the electromechanical modeling, and so on. So again, this is just to give a brief overview of some of our simulation capabilities. So this is the central slide on how we can engage with our clients. So essentially, what we see here is 5 different pillars. On the left-hand side, you can see the methodology development support. So if the problem requires technical deep dive with the research and development team, we can support that. And we also follow the VNV process, modeling validation, whether it's VNV 10 or VRV 40. On the bottom left, you can see the support to perform ModSim. So ModSim is the SOSSTEM words, which stands for modeling and simulation. So this is support can be regular project support where we can tackle the projects using modeling simulation, or it can be a overflow work, or if you have any urgent needs, we can also do that. So we can also provide on-site support where we can have a dedicated person, whether it's full-time or part-time, supporting your team. In regards of training, what we do is we provide standard training, whether it's advanced or introductory. We can also create custom training content, and we also develop custom courses based on M.S.M.E guidelines, courses such as like fracture mechanic courses, solid mechanic courses. I will talk that in more details in the next slide. And on the right-hand side, you can see the development of the processes. So we can validate workflow for clients. We can do optimization, material calibration. We can create a QA program. And lastly, bottom right-hand side, you see the development of the process, democratization, which includes the automation and templatization, WebApps solution, and 3DEXPERIENCE workflow development. That's basically the topic of today's webinar. You will see this in more details on the next slides. So hopefully this kind of gives you a good overview of how we can support your team. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. So this slide just shows our training services. So we have a training that we do. I put the link on the bottom, so on the bottom left side, and this is we have also the training schedule there. So basically, we provide the, as I mentioned, the introductory and advanced training. We can do also custom training, and it can be online or on-site. And we have multiple products We have again Abaqus. We support Simulia, Delmi, Novia, Katia, and some others. So please check it out on our website. So now let's talk about the automation on 3DEXPERIENCE platform. Before actually diving into the technical content, I would like to mention a few benefits of automation on 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So one of them is you get faster results, which means that automation can remove the manual work to set up your model, which is basically pre-processing, and also it can save a lot of time in post-processing. So you can do that in 3DEXPERIENCE, and we'll show you the ways in the next few slides. So you can also create automation workflow to optimize your results, and you can do that using the one of the apps on 3DEXPERIENCE, which is Process Composer. Again, we'll talk about that in further slides. So again, creating this optimization workflow can significantly improve your performance and also minimize your work. And lastly, one of the benefits that I wanted to include is sometimes designers or analysts or even engineers, they don't always have time or even knowledge to set up the model. In that case, one of the solutions is to use Process Studio widget, which is again on 3DEXPERIENCE platform, and it can create a template basically for them. And that template will let them execute those predefined simulation processes with a few simple clicks. So these are some of the benefits of automation 3DEXPERIENCE platform. And yeah, let's go and dive deeper in some of them. So this slide, so this is a simulation automation using the Process Experience Studio widget, which you can use to create a template based on the simulation process, and also you can customize the user interface. Basically, at the back end, there is the Process Composer that connects to this template. Again, it's very simple widget to use, and it lets you to create a custom template based on your input and output parameters. So again, you connect this input and output values, input and output values to your parameters, and these parameters you take from the Process Composer, and then you instantiate the template. On the next slide, I will show you one of the videos that shows you how easy it works. And so as you can see in this in this video, short video, basically you can this video shows how you can create a template. So you basically select different features that you want to display, and these features such as some basic features, input parameters. There's also some advanced features such as content, documents, and you put these parameters into your template. You have some of the parameters such as you can see stability, angle, and the belt speed, and these parameters are connected to the Process Composer. And in the Process Composer app, you will be able to connect this to the simulation itself. So this is the how you would create a template on using Process Studio widget. Again, very simple to use, and it's very a lot of our people use it, and it's great tool. So the next slide I want to show you is the material property calibration using the Process Composer app. And so basically on the right hand side, you can see the optimization loop that we created, and it lets you to optimize your parameters. So this is basically Process Composer app. I don't know if you guys know, but it's similar to the iSight, and this will allow you to optimize your parameters, and it saves a lot of time. You don't need to do any manual optimization. This does it automatically for you. On this slide, you can see we optimize some of the material parameters. This is the Young's modules optimization, and Young's modules is automatically varied, and you get the results from the simulation. You can see the simulation component here on the left-hand side, and we also have some other components such as calculator. And this calculator we put there to calculate those parameters from a different parameters. So we put some formulas there. Yeah, you get the test data, and then you try to feed that test data into this calculator components, and then you kind of like run through this loop to get your optimized material property. I believe this simulation entire process run for about an hour, but again, it depends how complex your model is. It can run longer, can run faster, but the key idea is that it's reduces your manual work. I'm going to hand it over to Chris, and he will talk about the workflow automation in Abaqus CAE. Chris, I'll make you presenter now.
Okay, thanks, Georgiy. I just want to check that you can hear me, and then also that you can see my screen.
Yes, I can hear you,
okay.
And I can see your screen.
All right, great. We're going to switch gears a little bit. Thanks, Georgiy. We're going to move into some additional automation that we can do this directly in Abaqus CAE for the first part, and then outside through WebApps. We're going to focus these automation processes. We'll focus on using Python programming language. So why do we do scripting in Abaqus? On the left-hand side, we have some of the main reasons. We want to automate repetitive tasks. We want efficiency. We can use Python scripting to do model construction, the pre-processing. We can use it to submit our jobs, monitor jobs, and then we can also do post-processing. We can, extract information from our ODB and automate those type of tasks that can be kind of tedious, especially if you're post-processing a lot of different ODBs or a lot of different results. We can extend functionality, enhance the interface, and also improve. We're improving quality of our work by doing this. If you have a lot of repetitive tasks, definitely more error prone. If you can create some type of script or interface that is verified, then you take a lot of that out of the equation. So in order to do scripting in Abaqus has two APIs, one for the GUI toolkit and one for the scripting interface, and you need to know Python to do that, to work with it. So Python, most people are familiar with it at this point. Very popular, general purpose interpreted language. You can download a free version of Python if you want to, play around with it a little bit more. There's different free distributions as well. Abaqus CAE does come with a basic distribution of Python with some of the basic modules or libraries you might be interested in, such as NumPy. And I think they've extended into later versions as well to like matplotlib and scipy and so forth. Again, why do we use Python? Easy to use, powerful, readable, portable, interpreted language. And where can you use it in Abaqus? Well, as we mentioned on the previous slide, we can use it on the pre-processing side. We can, do all kind of model construction type commands and build our entire file element model. Then we can actually, create our job, submit the job, monitor the job, set up parametric studies if we want, and then finally, once we get all of our results, we can get access to the ODB file and the content and extract results as needed. What are different customization types for Abaqus? Well, we can do a lot of different things. We can go as something as simple as, building a very basic script just to, set certain things in our model. And then we can work our way all the way down to a customized application. It's really dependent on the need of what you're trying to do. In some cases, a more complicated application may not be the right thing. It might just be a simple script or a series of scripts. But in other cases, I always like the idea of the plugin, these GUIs, because it does, create an interface that's easy and portable, easy for the user to use, and portable in a sense that, you could share it across your users by installing in the Abaqus plugin directory, and then you don't have people modifying scripts or anything like that. Just kind of have one person maintaining it and so forth. We have a lot of experience with that, and we would be glad to assist in any type of development needs you would have. One other type of customization we won't talk about here would be obviously creating subroutines for the solver. We're going to focus in this portion just on Abaqus customization with Python. Building off of that, if we look at this graph here, we can graphically look at kind of the complexity on the y-axis versus the productivity increase on the x-axis. So again, we have all these different means of interacting with Abaqus CAE, and in doing so, there's pros and cons of each. If we look at the very bottom corner, what I call manual creation, that's when you go off and just manually interact with the Abaqus CAE GUI, and you create all of your final element model, your parts models, mesh everything by hand by clicking through everything, which is fine for simple models, assuming that you're only going to do it once. But as you become more experienced and start building more models or testing more things or want to run sensitivity studies, you may want to get into some type of automation. And that's where, as we work up through this graph here, we get into, again, the kernel script, issuing kernel commands to Abaqus CAE to simulate what the buttons are doing when you're doing making interactions with Abaqus CAE GUI. We can build a simple GUI, a really simple GUI called RSG plugin. We can go all the way up to a standard plugin, which really enhances, I would say, can probably handle most of the things that most people would want to do. And finally, you can create a customized application. In this situation, this is where you really change the look and feel of Abaqus. If you had a process you wanted to define and really strip out certain features, there's certain things you can't change. You can't just change the whole entire look of Abaqus, but you can make a lot of changes of file menus, toolbars, change modules, add modules. So you can really create a customized application that's tailored to your needs. This example on a slide is for a kernel script. Again, very simple. We're just looking at adding materials to our model. So with these kernel commands, we can simply create a material and add density and elasticity values. The easiest way to get started, if you are interested in kernel scripting or just this automation process, is to look at the replay file, this RPY file that is in your working directory. If you look at that file, you will see these commands echoed back whenever you push push button, click on something in Abaqus CAE, it's executing these kernel commands. If you grab these commands, you copy them into a text file and name it, a Python file, .py extension, then you can execute those commands back by run script through the Abaqus CAE environment. And again, that's the easiest way to get started. If you need more information on something, you can obviously go into the scripting interface, Abaqus Python interface API, the user manual and documentation there, and it will obviously give you a lot more information, some examples and everything. But the easiest way, again, to get started is just to, look at the replay file and see what is being echoed back as you're making changes and interacting with Abaqus CAE. Another kernel script, simple, creating viewports, doing something in a visualization module. Again, you could look at a replay file as you're post-processing, and you can grab some of those results and making a simple top-down script, just pasting these commands in and rerunning it, you could replicate those same type of results. So if we move again further on that graph that I showed a little while ago, we move further to the right and up, we get into the first GUI. This is the really simple GUI. It's a plugin that Abaqus provides as one of the installed plugins. So this plugin called Really Simple GUI is a really simple GUI builder. It allows you to build really simple GUIs, really simple dialogues. And so example down below here to the left, we have this create plate, really simple GUI plugin, and allows us to organize all these widgets on this dialog. And by widgets, I mean text fields, images, notes, labels, so forth. If you interact with that really simple GUI, what you'll have to do is, as you build your dialog, you also have a tab on that dialog builder where you will connect your kernel script. This kernel script will contain all the commands you want to execute when you hit the OK button. So basically what you're doing is, if you think of it like this, instead of passing parameters into, let's say, a Python script on a command line, or manually editing your Python script and running the script each time, you could have this interface where now you connect up these variables, these parameters that will be passed into a function in your kernel script, and every time you hit OK, it executes that kernel script. So it's a little cleaner way to do it, and like I said, you build a GUI, you wrap this interface around it, it really packages things nicely. We're going to transition to a little more complicated plugin type called a standard plugin, and if we look at this one again on the left, this really simple GUI, what defines the really simple GUI is what you see is what you get, this WYSIWYG acronym. It's static. It does not change based on user interaction. So you can build a nice large dialog that contains a lot of inputs, but if you make changes or add, let's say you add content in terms of the text field, or you select something in a combo box, nothing's going to update it. It is not dynamic. So that defines just a static GUI, this RSG plugin type. The standard plugin gives you a lot more flexibility. So let's imagine taking this really simple GUI and adding 2 radio buttons up top. So instead of just analyzing a plate with a circular hole, let's assume we want to analyze both a plate with a circular and elliptical hole. If we have 2 radio buttons and we want to select one of these items, circular or elliptical hole, we select our radio button, and then we can have it update not only the image that's being displayed, but also the parameter types that are used for input. Again, it's a very simple example, but it gives you an idea of the flexibility a standard plugin might offer. Okay. So standard plugins. We can create custom dialogues similar to RSG, but definitely more elaborate in the sense that they can dynamically update. We can have dialogues call other dialogues. You might want to have a button on your dialogue. You click the button, another dialogue or window opens, you collect data, you apply that data or hit OK, it closes that off and it populates your first dialogue. You can issue warning informational messages, which can be very helpful for the user. Large quantity of obviously widgets that are available within the Abaqus GUI toolkit, such as tables and so forth. We can put file menus in. We can access, let's say from a file menu, maybe you want to access, some type of user's manual or some other type of document. You can put these different menu buttons in, and then you can interact with Abaqus CAE as well. Here's an example of a standard plugin. And again, by standard plugin, we call it standard plugin because we assume that it's going to not be static. There's going to be some changes to the GUI when we interact with it, such as, like I said, calling other dialogues, posting other dialogues, or the contents of the GUI will change as you make selections in it. For this custom design plugin, we were actually looking at bringing in data from the user. So there's a button there where you can upload a file. You select the file you want of a particular file type. Once you select that file, it's going to process the file and store that information. Then we can go through and select through the radio buttons and the buttons below in the middle of this first dialog there. We can make choices as we select those buttons. The text boxes and combo boxes and so forth will also update as needed. We can have combo boxes that will select, or I should say update, based on, let's say, the parts that are available. In this case, it's based on the node sets that are available. So it's going to identify for a particular model what node sets are available. And for these standard plugins, I mean, you can really do a lot of different things with them. It's really based on, again, how complex you want to go with it. You can post these informational dialogues. This one here is data file informational dialogue. What's this help provide? Well, it helps provide the user what does the content of the text file, how is it going to read it in? So again, they can provide information feedback to the user on how to correctly use your application. And you can, in this case, I think we're even writing out or exporting CSV contents as well. So you could even, if you think about it, you could have, say you have a very complicated setup and you want to preserve that setup. You could easily preserve a template setup or a specific user setup so that the next time they come in, they can load that or pick from a variety of templates to load. In the next couple of slides, just going to go over some other GUI examples. This was one of the custom application examples that was on in that graph for Abaqus Knee Simulator. We have a GUI here for Abaqus welding interface. This is used to help automate the setup and modeling for welding simulations. The next one here is for a fracture assessment. Again, we collect data. You could see the dialog here in the upper right corner. We have multiple tabs there to collect data from the user. When we collect that data, it's going to go off and create the whole model for us and set up our analysis. It's going to create half or quarter model and position the flaw at a particular location, and then assign the loads and boundary conditions depending on what the user selects. And on this slide, this is some other examples of plugins that have been constructed. If you go to the DS Knowledge Database, we can go to support and we can look at a list of plugins that are available if you have interest in if you're interested in learning more about what might already be out there and see what other people have done already. Okay, moving away from Abaqus CAE a little bit. Still staying in Python, we're going to talk about web app deployment and development. So we can set up, for any type of web app deployment development, we can help set up the architecture and deployment for you. We can set up Git for the code management portion. We can set up GitHub Actions. If we're interfacing with some type of database like SQL Server for data management, we can do file management and also handle security for you. all on like cloud-based app services such as Azure or AWS. Moving forward with that same type of thought, we again provide assistance to support software development, testing, website monitoring, data processing related to web tool development, software architecture and its complete integration. And then we can use whatever technologies are appropriate, again, based on your project needs. And in this final slide, I have two videos here. These are two simple web apps we developed to demonstrate kind of the versatility you can have with web apps and you know, creating some type of custom interface, again, outside of Abaqus CAE, but still creating an interface for the user to interact with. All Python-based, built-in Streamlit. So if we look at this first one here on the left-hand side, this one has to do with interfacing with a SQL database. So we're actually going to authenticate our login and access the SQL server. We're going to access the database, pull in information. You know, there's different libraries associated with Python to allow us to connect and access information related to our database. And once we get that information, once we create our login, we could see that in this particular web app, we have it set up where we select from inputs that are pulled directly from our database, and we can select from these drop-down menus and update our information that we want to plot. We can interact with a lot of different plotting libraries with Python with the Streamlit. In this case, I think we're using either Plotly or Matplotlib, but both of them are very capable and really gives you a lot of flexibility in, you know, presenting data and creating a nice clean front end for your users. Okay, and if we move to the next one on the right hand side, this one is just a simple calculator for a pipeline stress calculation example. And this, you can see the code off on to the left. So again, built in Streamlit, we create our behind the scenes code to develop the web app, the front end, and also the kernel code behind the scenes in terms of what's going to happen when you actually click the buttons and have it calculate or do something. We can have it, you walk, you know, in this case, it's walking the user through a process. You know, step one, we want to calculate something, we want to select our material, and then we want to check something. We want to see if there's a pass or fail. We can hide different areas. We can store results, display results in tables, you know, write things out and store things in, let's say, Excel. While this is running here, I want to point out that one of the projects that we were involved with that was really interesting related to this is, if you can imagine having a lot of Excel files, you know, situated within your company, you know, whether it's actually finance, you know, IT, engineering, so forth. If you have all these Excel files sitting out there and, you know, multiple users are using them, they do some type of calculation or storage of data, we are able to create this monetization process where we are able to create a front end to that Excel file. So the user could interact with this web app and pass data to and from Excel. So you're using Excel as maybe essentially the calculation engine. So you don't have to, you know, necessarily rebuild all of the Excel file content within Python. You know, if you have a calculation process that's been established, well tested and verified, you keep that there, but it allows you to create now a front end that could be used across your company, because now it's on the web versus passing Excel file, you know, back and forth between you know, different parts of your company. So very useful. You know, just like the Abaqus CAE plugins, as sophisticated as you want to get, you can get with it. There's you know, with Python and these different GUI frameworks, there's a lot you can do. So with that, I'm going to close out the GUI and scripting, the automation portion of this talk, and thank you for you know, participating in this webinar. And I guess I'll pass it back to Georgiy. I think we're going to see what questions are available, if anyone's has any questions for us.
Thank you, Chris. Manuel, do you have any questions from audience?
Let me take a look. In the meantime, I would like to also encourage to leave your questions or comments in the question box. I think we have some questions already. Okay, we have one question here, which says, do you help with developing methodology and workflow that can be automated?
Yes. So yeah, that's something that already kind of talk about in the first few slides. So yeah, we do develop different workflows depending on your needs, whether it's in 3DEXPERIENCE or in Abaqus or using the WebApps. So yeah, we provide the consultation support, and yeah, feel free to email me, and then we will discuss that. Yes, so we do that.
Thank you, Georgiy. We got this other question here, and which says, how steep is the learning curve for Python and GUI programming? Does bias help with training?
Yeah, sure. I could take that, Georgiy. First, yes. First off, Vice does help with training. We provide full gamut of training for scripting, GUI development, and so forth. So we can definitely help any type of needs there with training or support in developing any type of web app or GUI and so forth. As far as learning curve, general basic kernel script, Python's relatively easy to use and pick up for very basic things. So I think doing some very basic commands using the replay file and creating some very simple top-down kernel scripts can happen very quickly, especially after an introduction to Abaqus scripting course. When you start getting into more the GUI development side, definitely a much steeper learning curve, because now you have to understand some amount of object-oriented programming and just a level of sophistication with the GUI toolkit API, and you know what information is available to assist in that development versus the kernel portion is definitely a much steeper learning curve.
All right, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have this other question here, which says, do I need to have object-oriented structure to use Python scripting?
Sure, I could take that again. I think I just touched on that a little bit with the GUI stuff. For some of the basic kernel scripting, no, you do not. I mean, I think that's one of the powerful things with Python is versus some of the other, I'll say, more structured languages like Java and C, where you have to program in object-oriented. For some of the basic kernel stuff, you can do a lot of top-down stuff and just, you know, issue your commands directly without defining anything specific, creating any classes. So for some very simple scripts, no, you do not need to have that object-oriented programming experience.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. And we have this other question here. which says how to create GUI plugin from script.
Chris, I think I can take that question. So Chris already actually mentioned, maybe he can also add some more part to it. So one of the I would say easiest way and to start off learning is to use the RSG plugin. So it will allow you to build a simple GUI interface. That's how you can start. And also it's possible from the RSG plugin to save it as a standard plugin. And then, yeah, from there you can also view the files and all this necessary content to create the plugin. So that's a simple way, I would say. Chris, you have anything else to add?
No, absolutely. That would be, if in order to get started, to even understand kind of what the organization of files and so forth is, definitely the RSG Builder plugin is the way to start before, to get your feet wet in that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. We don't have any further question. I would like to extend again the invitation to leave a question in the comment box or on the question box.
Thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah, seems like, yeah, we don't have any further questions. In that case, as we wrap up, I would like to thank everyone, especially to our speakers, for joining this webinar. Your journey to better workflow through automation starts here, and we hope you found this information valuable and inspiring. And keep an eye from us, and I hope you enjoy the webinar, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you. That is correct. Please stay tuned on your email. We will be doing a raffle, and you will be receiving the announcement of the winner. One of you who was here in the meeting will be receiving this this invitation. So please stay tuned.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.